The best thing you could do for yourself during a breakup is focus on personal growth. Instead of obsessing about your ex, focus on healing your attachment issues. Learn the skills to repair that relationship. Learn to understand your ex better. And when they come back, you can reattract them in a natural, confident way. My workbook series and my creative healing course were designed to help you during no contact and to grow even if they don't come back. You can get them on my website, askcraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about the hidden truth behind your ex's new relationship.
Ooh, we're about to uncover it.
Oh man, if you find out that your ex is dating somebody new, it's devastating. It is like the worst feeling in the world. You just can't help feel like that's it. They found somebody, they're going to marry that person, and I'm never going to hear from them again.
Mm-hmm.
The likelihood of that happening is very, very small. Okay? If you think about it, what's the percentages of people that get married? And what are the percentages of people that stay married? So, right, just percentage-wise, it's very unlikely that they're going to find somebody or the next person is going to be the love of their life. Does it happen? Yes, but very rarely.
Right. So we want to talk about some things that you might not expect from these kind of rebound relationships or finding out that your ex is dating somebody new. So what are some things that might surprise you?
Well, they really don't know each other.
They really don't.
I know you think your ex is the greatest person in the world, and for you, they may be the greatest person in the world, and they may feel like that to you right now, but that doesn't mean this new person is going to see them the same way, right? A lot of times, this person that is so important to you and feels like such a great fit for you will not be the same for this new person.
Mm-hmm. It takes time to get to know somebody. It takes time to build connection, to really build that intimacy. And I know there are some of you in situations where your ex had known somebody for a long time or were friends with somebody for a long time, and that's the person they started to date right after you.
Mm-hmm.
So you might feel like, well, they have a history. They've known each other. Friendship is very different from that romantic relationship.
Yes.
And how somebody shows up in that closer type of relationship, at least in this context, is so different. Those attachment issues start to really come up when that romance is set on the relationship.
Absolutely. It's a completely different set of needs in a lot of different ways. Sure, it's nice to have a friendship with somebody first, if you can. Mm-hmm. However, it doesn't mean that it's going to transition well to a romantic relationship that is strong, because that is about each other's attachment issues, understanding each other's person's needs and fulfilling those needs, right? And so, yes, even if that person was friends with them, it doesn't mean, and they might have a good friendship, it doesn't necessarily mean it could lead to something long term.
Right.
Because just remember that the excitement and that new phase in the beginning is going to be very different as they get to know each other and they get attached.
Mm-hmm. Another thing that's a hidden truth that may not be thought about often, but your ex is likely projecting a lot of their hopes, needs, desires, fantasy onto this new person.
Yes. Along
with any unmet needs. So that's a part that we don't really think about. We just think, man, our ex is so excited about this new person and they're so vulnerable. They've met the family way sooner than I met their family. Mm-hmm. They're taking all of these steps. A lot of times we're not seeing how our ex may be projecting what they want, those unmet needs, and expecting this new partner to fulfill all of what they've ever wished for.
And that happens a lot, mm-hmm. especially in the beginning of a relationship, right? Because think about it. If they've had these needs unmet, and this goes for everybody, all of a sudden this new person comes along and they fantasize that they're going to magically meet those needs that they didn't get in their childhood. Mm-hmm. This is part of the reason we tell you guys to do the work, right? Because you have to figure this out for yourself and your own issues. But your ex is going to have these magical fantasies about this perfect person being perfect and wonderful and meeting all those needs that they didn't get met. And then 6 months later, it becomes a very different story because they're like, well, how come you're not meeting all my needs? And they're like, well, how come you're not meeting mine?
Right. And over time, a person's flaws come to the surface. You start to see them more and more and more. And in the beginning, you're not challenged in the same way. As you go about the relationship, you have to accept the patience that it takes to continue it.
That's right.
And that can be a really hard thing to face, especially when you've expected this person to fulfill all of these unmet needs.
That's right. And that stuff doesn't usually come out in the first 6 months. I mean, it can a little bit, depending upon the person and the level of drama they're bringing to the table, right? If they're telling you they love you on the third date, you're going to be like, okay. Or, they may think, oh, this person's so great and so amazing. And then 2 months in, that person is controlling or obsessive and, doing a lot of things to turn your ex off. So things like that happen. Or vice versa, your ex could do that to them.
Right. So you're challenged in a totally different way as the relationship progresses. So remember that part of their relationship too. Sometimes if we're on the outside and all we hear about is your ex is dating somebody new, we just go to the worst in our mind.
Absolutely. People don't like to be alone. Okay? The more insecure someone is, the less likely they are to want to be alone in many ways, right? Because they're afraid, and so they'll always keep someone on the back burner because they need that comfort or support. Whereas the more secure people are okay with being alone and not using people to comfort them. And why I say this is, your ex is in this new relationship, and maybe part of that is because they didn't want to be alone, or they weren't happy in the relationship, so they felt like they had to jump to somebody new. But they don't just forget about someone they were attached to. So your ex is going to think about you. So even though they're in this new relationship, they're still going to wonder about you. They're still going to stalk your social media. They're still going to find different ways to do it. And believe me, there are so many different ways. Now we got drones flying around in the air.
Oh my gosh, not the drone.
We got drones following you. They got all kind of stuff. People are going to be disguised as ice cream guys. We're going to hear about that next. Who knows?
People are going to start living in bunkers.
I took a job
to avoid their ex.
I took a job as an ice cream man to drive past my ex's house every day.
Oh my gosh.
We haven't heard that one yet, but someone's probably done it.
But now I have a newfound passion for ice cream.
So, just because your ex is in a new relationship, they're going to be thinking about you. Even though they're excited about this new person, they're still going to be wondering about you and what's going on with you, especially if it's right after the breakup and they had a strong attachment to you.
Right, and your ex, either consciously or unconsciously, is going to be comparing you. And this is one of those things that's hard to hear because it's probably one of your fears. Oh, they're probably thinking that this person is better in every aspect of life, right? That this new partner just is so much better than me in every way imaginable. And the comparison part, it's not always necessarily bad. It's not always good. Sometimes it's neutral.
Yep.
It's going to really depend on the quality of the relationship. And I'm willing to bet that the things that you think your ex is comparing their new person with you is probably not the things that they're actually comparing.
That's true.
Right?
That's true.
So it probably would be so different from their experience, and that's something that goes on, like I said, consciously or unconsciously. It's all in their mind. That's nothing that we can control.
Mm-hmm.
There are going to be things that they miss about you because you are a unique person, because the two of you had a unique relationship. So no matter how they compare any kind of situation, there's going to be things that only you could have brought to that relationship.
Yep. Maybe it was your Star Wars collection. Maybe it was bad jokes.
Maybe.
I bring both of those to the table, regardless of where I'm at, everywhere I go.
To any table.
To any table.
The picnic table, the lunch table.
Wherever you go, there you are. That's what they say.
So remember that relationships are always a dynamic. So there's going to be issues that if they haven't worked on, they're going to reappear in their new relationship. And when somebody has an external locus of control, I'll explain what that is. That's when somebody sees the outside world controlling their life and their circumstances. So that's when you feel like your situations and your feelings are caused by things happening in the external world, rather than your own choices and your own actions and taking that kind of agency. So somebody with an external locus of control, they tend to blame others for their issues. And this happens a lot in relationships where we start to blame our partner for our depression, for our anxiety, for our
arguing.
Yes, for anything that goes on in our life. We start to think, well, my life was perfect before I met such and such. They just brought so much chaos and anger and all of these things. And so sometimes we break up and we think, well, let me replace it with somebody new. This new person won't have any of those issues. They're going to fix all of the problems in my life. And we realize, wait a minute, there's still some of these issues that are coming back. Why am I having the same arguments but with a new person?
Yeah.
Why am I having the same depression but with a new person?
Yep.
So my point here is a lot of times these issues that they've brought into the relationship are going to continue unless they take the agency to fix that rather than just replacing you.
Yep, it's so true. And I see it a lot. Mm-hmm. You should hear how many times over the years I've heard people say, well, my ex is moving to a different state and they're going out there for XYZ reason or whatever. And 4 months later, they're miserable over there. They think it's going to be different. But like I just said, wherever you go, there you are.
Yeah.
Right? It's so true. And so, them blaming you, I mean, there are times where maybe it was you. Let's be honest. Right? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Sometimes it was you. And you got to own that, right? Okay, we all make mistakes. Nobody's perfect. Only Margaret was. Right? But it's okay. You got to take a look at that. You got to reflect on it, and you got to own it and grow and make those changes. If your ex is still blaming you for everything, and you know in your heart that, yes, some of it was you, but a lot of them was them, you don't want them to come back yet, because you're not going to be able to repair it when they're in that mindset. You want to see that they're owning some of the issues, taking some responsibility, they've reflected on it, and they've looked at what went wrong, and they're willing to do something about it. And this is why we're always telling you guys to do the personal growth, because when you're able to look at this stuff and make changes, it's going to help you either reattract them or when they come back.
Yeah.
But you have got to do that work, and they need to reflect on things as well, and hopefully they are.
And that's what I bring up, because a lot of people fear, well, my ex is going to treat the next person so much better. All of the crap they gave me, they're not going to give to the next person, and their relationship's just going to be perfect. But a lot of times it's not like that. A lot of times, our issues seem to go in cycles somehow until we're able to really self-reflect and really change things in our lives.
Yep.
So.
Yep, absolutely. The other thing you want to consider is, who is this new person?
Who are they?
And I know you're stalking. You know you're stalking. How are you stalking? Every way that you can. Whether you've had a private investigator or not, maybe. Maybe it depends upon your budget. Some of you have. It's true.
But you do have to consider the other person, because they too are taking a risk in dating your ex, especially if you and your ex have just recently ended your relationship, or if it was one of those situations where they've just went from one relationship to the next with minimal downtime, right? That is a big risk for the next person they date. And it's something that we talk a lot about on the channel. We say give people some time after they've ended a relationship to really process what's happened, to be able to grieve, to be able to feel angry. A lot of times you'll see that anger from the last relationship projected onto the next one, and the next one, and the next one. Sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, these things do happen.
Don't just sit there and fantasize that this new person is perfect and amazing. There's a very low probability of that.
Unless it's me. We make that joke way too often. But truly, they're going to come with their own issues. They're going to come with their own perspective and hesitancies towards dating your ex too.
Yep.
So a lot of times when we're on the outside, and especially with social media, people just post the highlights and the best things that are happening.
Yep.
We get this image that everything is going great. That's not necessarily the case. So
there's a lot going on. Okay? We know you're terrified. It's one of the scariest things you can think about or see, is that they have found someone else, and you're convinced they're going to ride off into the sunset. Margaret used to say that to me all the time.
Yeah.
They're not going to ride off into the sunset. The issues are going to come out. The hidden truth is that there's a lot of issues that will happen with your ex and this new person, with that person, and with your ex. And, your ex is going to think about you. They're going to miss you. They're going to wonder about you. They're going to fear losing you. There's going to be a lot going on than you realize, and it goes far more than just this black and white idea of they found someone else and they're going to be happy forever.
Right. And bigger picture here, too, is how you handle this situation. How do you handle it when somebody that you love is now in the arms of somebody else a week later, 2 weeks later, right? That's something that's pretty excruciating for any human to experience. So when we're thinking about your experience through this, how are you handling it? Are you able to have grace for yourself? Are you able to be patient for yourself? Are you able to manage those feelings of jealousy, anger, doubt? That's what's important here too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so hopefully this one has been helpful for you. And of course, if you want to get our help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.